All right, guys, Automatic Garage back today. We got this 2020 F-250 with the 6.7 in it. We just hit a complete fuel system on this due to a CP4 failure to the DCR pump on it. But in the midst of it getting here, customer towed it himself. Had an issue with batteries being weak, being dead. Steering wheel was not completely unlocked and damaged the clock spring while we were doing that. So we got the truck running. I said, hey, your clock spring is messed up on your steering wheel. We have the clicking that you hear in the column while you turn the wheel. We have an airbag light, and we have no controls on the dash here for cruise control or canceling anything on the dash, any of your warning lamp stuff. So we're going to do a clock spring on this truck. So first things first, let me turn you around here. Before disconnecting your batteries, you have 3 fuses you want to pull. It's 14, 25, and 60 right there, which are your lower fuses. Right here in the box, you'll see those 3 empty spots. Those go to your body control module. So pull those out before you disconnect your batteries. Turn the ignition on, wait 1 minute. That's according to the service manual. And then disconnect your batteries. It says wait at least 1 more minute. I like to disconnect the batteries and wait about 30 minutes, let everything completely discharge, because the last thing you want is that airbag going off in your face. So now you just have 10mm hold downs on your battery terminals. I do disconnect all of them. You'll be asking, why do you disconnect negative and positive? Because after this sits for about 30 minutes, I will touch a negative to a positive on the, as far as the cables go, that will discharge any capacitors in the system if there's anything left in them for that. So we got those disconnected. We're gonna wait 30 minutes. I will touch negative to positive then, make sure everything's discharged, and then we'll get inside and start pulling the clock spring out. So now inside the truck, you have these 2 holes here. It says use a 3mm Allen key or something thereof close to that. And you're gonna go inside this hole here. And what you're doing is you're gonna feel it fall into a hole here, and it's gonna release a spring. You see there, I'm pushing that Allen, it's springing in and out. So you got a hole just like this on the other side. You're gonna push in on the airbag just a little bit while pushing this, and then pull back, and that's gonna release that clip. So now we have our airbag out of the steering wheel here. You have to release this connector there, which if you see that little orange portion there, once you raise that up, you can pull that off. And then you come down here, you have this other red connector there that has a push tab on it also. So let me get that disconnected. So you can get this red connector out after you slide it off of the little post that it slides onto. You have a little locking tab right there. Once you depress it, you can slide it right out just like that. Take your airbag and always put them face down somewhere away from me over there, just in case. So now you want to disconnect any other electrical connectors going to your steering wheel, which we have this one right here, which has this push tab right there. It was in that socket there. Yours may differ just a little bit depending on what model you have, heated or non-heated steering wheel, all that good stuff. But just disconnect any electrical connectors you have that are going to go to your steering wheel. All right, so we're now going to remove our bolt that holds the steering wheel on. We're using just a standard 15/16 deep socket right here, and our smaller impact here to remove it. All right, with our bolt removed, you can now remove your steering wheel, and just be careful with that wire right there. I'm going to set y'all down so I can use both hands, but don't be yanking on any wires while you pull the steering wheel off. Now, to gain access to your little Torx bolts that hold your clock spring in, here's our new clock spring. You can see all the mounts on it here. This is from Ford. And let me go and show you the part number before I forget. There's your part number right there. So to get to those, you got 3 little 5mm bolts that go in these holes right here on the bottom of the column, and you can just separate your plastic. There's no need in working it all the way out. Just get it to that point right there. You can get to all these. These are T10s. So I'm gonna take all these out now, and we'll be able to pull our clock spring out after we unplug it right there. So you pull your clock spring out. This will be a little bit of a tight fit right there. There's just those little bitty tabs right there on the inside of it, but just give it a straight pull out, it will come out. And then we're going to disconnect this plug right here, and now the clock spring is out. So now we're going to reverse that, plug our new one all in. Do not pull this tab out right here, the locking tab that keeps it from just uncoiling right now. So I'm going to plug this back in first, stick it back on here, make sure I got a good connection there, put my Torx back in, and then we'll get to putting the steering wheel back on. All right, so you have these tits right here on the back of your clock spring. Make sure you line those up. If it's not just sliding right on, then don't force it, because you'll be breaking those. All right, so we got all our Torx put back in. Don't over tighten them, just snug them up. So now we're gonna put our plastic back on, put our 5mm bolts back on the bottom, and get ready to put our steering wheel back on. All right, so we got our plastic all back on, 5mm bolts in the bottom all tightened back up, slid the steering wheel on, still leave the locking tab and your clock spring there. We're now gonna put our steering wheel bolt back in. It goes to 52 foot-pounds, so get that torqued and then we'll catch up there. All right, so we're now gonna pull our locking tab out. That frees the clock spring up. We're gonna plug this back in, and now we can reinstall our airbag. All right, make sure your red plug is back on the holder there because you don't want that flopping around in the steering wheel here. We're gonna reconnect our airbag right there. Remember the little locking tab on that, and then we can just push the airbag in and the springs will lock it back in. We can go reconnect our batteries, put our fuses back in for the BCM, and be ready to try this out. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video on putting the clock spring in the 6.7 there. I really think that one is easier to do than it is on these older trucks here. It's pretty straightforward. Getting the airbag out, I think, was actually easier than the older style also. But if you've lost your steering wheel controls, got the airbag light on, none of that stuff's working, replace that clock spring. It's not bad. Just go to Ford and get the OEM one. Don't buy anything else. Buy the OEM one. I want to say it was like $130-something. That has the heated steering wheel and all that in it too, so it's probably the more expensive one at that. Go check out other content on the channel here. A whole lot of Power Stroke stuff, Cummins stuff, Ford stuff here on the channel. Go consider visiting our Patreon if you like the content that we make here on the channel and want to help support it, or just want to become a member on there. We do giveaways, and there's some behind the scenes stuff that we don't normally put on YouTube. It's on there also. Go check us out at automedicgarage.com, Instagram, and Rumble. It's the Automatic Garage signing out. We'll holler at y'all later.